X at SFM Radio, and at Ashraf Garda.
So, often we have this feature called Winning. We speak to people and we talk to them about their lives and what they're doing and how they've overcome adversity to be where they are right now. That seems to be the case with Sibusiso Ntuli, who's a young man, many challenges, I believe, but also has done well in business and has got an interesting relationship with someone that you would be very, very familiar with as well, which I'll mention just now. Sibusiso, good to connect with you. You're on the National Pulse.
Greetings, Mr. Ashraf. How are you?
Yeah, leave out the Mr. Just Ashraf.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine.
Just out of respect.
No. I'll just call you Sibusiso. You call me Ashraf. Absolutely fine. Anyway, talk about respect. I mean, you have a journey to tell us about, right? Of triumph and adversity. Maybe let's go to the very end. What are you doing now? I mean, there are things that you're involved in now that is impactful. What are they?
Well, thank you very much for allowing me the time to share my story on your platform, and greetings to the whole of South Africa. I'm a recovering addict. I've been addicted to many different substances from the age of 15. I never knew that I had a problem until I lost custody of my daughter, which was mid last year, and my life spiraled into what would be known as the bitter ends. I then went into rehabilitation as part of a program from jointly with Social Development and Department of Health, where they allow us addicts to receive free medical care at Solomon Sticks Morero Hospital in Selby, which is under the Clinics Group. And it was through that I met a gentleman called Letabo Diale, who was my addiction recovery counselor, and he changed my life. He managed to make me see that addiction has nothing to do with drugs. Addiction has everything to do with the things we don't want to confront. Addiction has everything to do with the pain inside and embroiled as you experience life from a young child to a toxic world.
So tell me more about that. Addiction is all about things that you don't want to confront. That happened
Correct.
to you too when it was explained?
So many things took place when I was growing up, the divorce of my parents, and I come from a very stable household at the time. And, to have that taken away from me and have that broken up, you begin to meet new influences. And when you meet these influences, you have no idea about the habits you pick up along the way. So I did drugs not knowing that these are drugs. I before smoking cigarettes, before picking up alcohol, my first consumption was crack cocaine. Unbeknownst to me, I was in a very sorrowful state, and from then on, got it caught up with the wrong crowd. And because of this void, and because of the sensation that I felt was freeing me, and in very sarcastic inverted commas, I went down a very dark road.
Now, firstly, on that basis, you made the point you come from a stable family. I would think a relatively comfortable family. That means information also would be readily available. How would you not have known that? That if you take a drug or you get involved in different things, you could spiral down. How would you not have known that? When often we speak to others about it, when you accept maybe they don't know better, but how would you not have known that?
So I cannot say I didn't know better, because I did. It's just that I was defenseless to the elements involved. So, we're at an adolescent stage, and what we've been talking about, because I've got a company now called Recover Hub. It's called controlled exposure. Without controlled exposure, your children are going to end up finding these things regardless. So the conversation needs to happen. And if you don't have the tough conversations, you'll have to deal with the tough social ills. So these are the type of things that I believe should be addressed in a stable environment before things get out of hand.
Controlled exposure. I'll tell you what, lots more to come, which I want to pick up on. And then, of course, your journey in terms of where you are in your business career 1 year later, right after this.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, having a fascinating chat with Sibusiso Ntuli, talking about his own journey from where he was like a year ago. As he said, he's a recovering addict and now moving on to a better world, I would think, in terms of where he is. But the plan is that his story may well inspire you anyway, right? So, Sibusiso, I'll just go a step back to say, when the person who advised you and effectively picked you up, right? I mean, that was obviously critical, but at that time, what did you feel when that person taught you new things about just understanding what addiction really means? How did you then believe that person when often, people get told the same story every single day?
So one thing that I found in recovery in the beginning of my journey was God. And God is not conventional religious understanding. And I've come to understand that religion is for people who don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people who've been there and never want to go back. So in the form of God, the first form I found was the gift of desperation. So the gift of desperation was my bitter ends, and I was sick and tired of this life. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Life should not be like this. Life should not be a full strain of consumption, and instant gratification, because I'm not fulfilled. I don't have joy. There must be something greater than this. And he introduced me to something called a spiritual awakening, which is good, orderly direction. What is the next right thing to do? In addiction, you don't even know how your left is determined from your right. So he taught me how to empty my cup. If I could say simply, he literally taught me how to empty my cup and forget what I know.
Okay, so at that time, wonderful that he did. So at the time of your addiction and you lost your family, what were you doing in terms of your business or work career at that point in time? Because then you were addicted, then you went into rehab, so you obviously stopped doing all of that, right?
Yeah. So when I was in rehab, I had an epiphany, and I think this is comical because I'm sure every recovering addict has had the same epiphany. But I decided that I need to be able to make my recovery strong. And in order to make my recovery strong, I would need to cancel my old environments. I'd need to cancel my old friends, and I'd need to cancel my old playthings. And I'd need to hold true to what change I actually want to hold on to. So I created a company called Recover Hub. Now, Recover Hub is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers, to the families that have been affected and afflicted by addiction, and to the communities that have been plagued by this disease of addiction. So what I believe is now my calling and my life purpose is to ensure that people understand that addicts actually have no clue beyond a certain point before they find recovery that they are doing wrong. And you cannot engage with somebody in a humane way, because this person has a disease where his brain is telling him that he is fine, where in all faculties is destroyed. So in order for our society to go back into a neutral state or a place or a position where we can help people, we need to make sure we understand what we are dealing with so that this person can be helped or assisted.
Well, wonderful. What are you doing now? Work, business?
So this is my 6th month. I celebrate 6 months clean as of the 17th of the 17th of this month, and I have recently just been employed at a media company for just anonymity. I'll keep that private for now, but you will see some of the work we're doing. We're doing a lot of stuff where we're recording some of my interviews with people. Next, we have a nice high-profile interview that we're about to do. But everything, you can catch it on recoverhub.online.
Okay, so that career is I mean, you want to get into media, but before that, you also had a company called Arise TV, and you made money, and I think you lost some money there, right?
So Arise TV is where I spent money, where we actually trained people from Boston Media House and City Varsity College. I actually made the money with another company in KZN selling sanitizer wipes during COVID. I was actually 2 weeks to getting kicked out and evicted. And my mom literally told me, I'm no more helping you, no more handouts, you got to make your own way. And by the grace of God, or by the strike of God, I made some nice fair share money, but without the acumen and self-discipline and personal accountability, I blew it recklessly.
So fast forward now. I mean, I made the point that you are related to somebody that everybody would be familiar with.